The behavior isn't a reaction, it's a statement. It declares, I exist, and this act is my essence. This reframes what we perceive as grandiosity, manipulation, or control into something deeply existential. For a narcissist, these actions aren't tools, they are truths. The eternal echo chamber of narcissistic existence. Central to the idea of the act itself is the concept of the narcissist's echo chamber, a psychological loop where their thoughts and feelings continuously reinforce each other, excluding external reality. This internal cycle ensures that every narcissistic act not only validates their sense of self but also further insulates them from contradictory evidence or external influence. When a narcissist manipulates or asserts dominance, their mind reframes the act as evidence of their superiority, intelligence, or entitlement, regardless of external realities. This self-reflective distortion amplifies their ego, creating a closed system that blocks any input that might disrupt their identity. For example, if criticized, they interpret it as jealousy. If ignored, they perceive it as fear. This ability to reshape external feedback is not just a defensive strategy, it's an intrinsic feature of their existence. It ensures that their narcissistic identity remains immutable, no matter the circumstances. This echo chamber also explains why narcissists often seem unfazed by negative consequences. Criticism, rejection, or failure doesn't disrupt their cycle. Instead, they reinterpret these events as further evidence of their unique insight or misunderstood genius. To a narcissist, the world is perpetually reframed to fit their narrative. This creates a paradox. No external action can either validate or invalidate them because the act itself has already fulfilled its purpose internally. This closed loop of self-reinforcement gives rise to what Narcissistics describes as narcissistic resilience. While others might falter under external pressures, the narcissist's internal gratification system keeps them emotionally afloat, untouched by societal expectations or relational norms. The nexus of superposition supply fuel and the act itself. But there is more to the act itself than simply internal gratification. Its interaction with the concept of superposition supply fuel reveals a deeper complexity. This principle describes the narcissist's ability to extract ego reinforcement from any situation or interaction, regardless of its nature or intent. Picture this: you set boundaries, disengage, or even completely cut contact with a narcissist. Conventional wisdom might suggest these actions will weaken their grip, depriving them of the attention they crave. But through the lens of Narcissistics, we see a chilling truth. Even in absence or silence, the narcissist's mind reframes the situation in their favor. Your disengagement becomes proof of their intimidation or superiority. This adaptive mechanism allows narcissists to draw emotional validation from interactions that would appear, on the surface, to work against them. Their reframing ability transforms every action or emotion, whether love, hate, fear, or indifference, into a narrative that sustains their ego. The relationship between the act itself and superposition supply fuel is symbiotic. The act generates internal gratification, while the reframed narratives amplify the emotional resonance of that gratification. Together, these mechanisms create a self-sustaining system of narcissistic validation, immune to external influence. Ultimately, this interplay highlights the futility of traditional strategies aimed at diminishing a narcissist's power. Ignoring them, reasoning with them, or exposing their manipulations do not disrupt their system. Instead, the only way to weaken their impact is to disengage entirely and minimize opportunities for reframing, ensuring their cycles do not intersect with your reality. The emotional myopia of narcissistic existence. As we explore further, another critical dimension of the act itself emerges: emotional myopia. Narcissists exist in a state of presentism, a fixation on the immediate gratification derived from their actions. Unlike most individuals, whose motivations may be tied to long-term goals or future aspirations, narcissists act solely to fulfill their current identity needs. This lack of temporal awareness explains why they rarely acknowledge the long-term consequences of their behavior. Actions that might alienate others, damage relationships, or erode trust are irrelevant within their framework because the here and now gratification outweighs any distant considerations. This myopia creates a paradox. While their actions may appear calculated, they are not driven by pragmatic outcomes. Instead, these behaviors serve to express and reaffirm their narcissistic essence in the moment. Any appearance of strategy is secondary to their need to act in alignment with their self-perceived identity. In essence, the narcissist's existence is untethered from conventional notions of progress or growth. While many individuals strive for improvement, learning from past mistakes, narcissists remain fixed in a self-perpetuating loop. Their satisfaction does not come from evolving or achieving, it arises solely from embodying their narcissistic identity through action. As Narcissistics poignantly illustrates, for them, being is doing. Conclusion, a paradigm of intrinsic existence. This brings us to the ultimate understanding of the act itself. As proposed by Narcissistics, the narcissist's behaviors are not means to an end, they are the end. The manipulations, the displays of grandiosity, the calculated interactions, they are not tools to achieve power or res. They are self-contained acts of self-validation, intrinsic to their existence. This profound insight reshapes how we view narcissistic behavior. It is no longer about external motivations or reactions but about an existential framework where actions sustain identity. The implications are vast, from personal relationships to societal dynamics. Recognizing this intrinsic system allows us to see narcissism not as a relational deficit but as an internalized mode of being. For those impacted by narcissistic behavior, this understanding offers both clarity and strategy. It shows us why traditional approaches to confrontation often fail, and it reinforces the importance of preserving one's boundaries while disengaging strategically. The narcissistic loop cannot be dismantled from the outside, but its impact can be minimized by refusing to play a role in their narrative. In the end, the act itself represents the ultimate statement of narcissistic identity, a behavior not performed for others, but for themselves. As we continue to explore the human psyche, theories like Narcissistics remind us of the importance of looking beyond appearances to uncover the underlying truths that drive human behavior. Thank you for journeying through this exploration. Until next time, may we continue to question, learn, and grow together.